Back in the day, a walking half dollar could get you a gallon of gas, because gas was 50 cents. So when I handed that store clerk 50-cent walking Liberty half dollar, I was exchanging real value for real value. Today, that same exact coin can get me a gallon of gas. I could go through a time portal back then, end up in today's day and age, take that coin out of my pocket, walk to the local coin shop and sell it for $20 and get myself a couple gallons of gas. See, silver is timeless. Here's another example. In 1971, the cost of a Corvette was $5,496, which was 3,572 ounces of silver. In 2020, the cost of a Corvette is $67,898, which is 3,308 ounces of silver. So if you were to leave that dealership in 1971 with your 3,572 ounces of silver and go through some time portal, you would actually be able to get that same Corvette for free, because you would have that 3,572 ounces of silver in your pocket. But in today's day and age, the cost of a Corvette is only 3,308 ounces. So you would have 264 ounces of silver left over on top of getting a free Corvette by simply just going through a time portal. See, silver is timeless. It's like parking your money in a time machine as the dollar declines, and that is why we invest into silver. And once you understand this, you, my friend, are now a true silver stacker.
Connection established.
Folks, I really hope that introduction stuck with you, or at least planted a seed. And if you know anyone else who's maybe on the fence or thinks you're crazy for stacking precious metals or really doesn't get it, show them that introduction. They don't even have to watch the rest of this video. I highly recommend they do, because it will give more context of how we got here. It's a very quick point. They don't have to watch a 15-minute YouTube video. It's just a quick 20-30-second thing that hits hard, gets straight to the point, and they cannot debate you about it. And if they try to say anything about it, it's only going to make them look worse, planting the seed even deeper, because then they will think about this stuff later on. But anyways, let's jump into this article. The link will be posted in the description. Make sure you subscribe, because I do post daily videos, and if you wanted to purchase some of this shiny stuff, gold or silver, well, you've come to the right place, because it's safe, reliable, trusted, and I have incredible prices. The best prices around. Slayer at milesfranklin.com or call 330-485-6172. I don't do this for me. I do it for you. I'm not a stingy guy. I do this because there's a lot of new stackers, and I want people to be able to buy from safe places. I'm tired of hearing people getting scammed or overpriced. So, with that said, interest on US debt is going vertical, and so is gold and silver. Here is a chart, shows income taxes, $2.4 billion. By the way, this is the US federal budget flow for 2024. You can see the total receipts and then the total outlays, the green and the red. You can see, I don't have to read it to you. You guys can pause and go through that. The federal government's revenue primarily comes from various taxes and other sources. Individual income taxes are the largest contributor, accounting for nearly half of all federal receipts. In 2023, they comprised 48% of total revenues. Payroll taxes, which fund Social Security and Medicare, are the second largest source, making up about 35% of federal revenues. Corporate income taxes are another significant source. Through their contribution has declined over time. In 2022, they accounted for 9% of federal revenue. Other sources include these taxes on specific goods like gasoline, alcohol, custom duties for imports, estate, and gift taxes. Here's some of the federal outlays. The major categories of federal spending include Social Security, the largest mandatory spending program providing benefits to retirees and disabled individuals, Medicare and Medicaid, health insurance programs for the elderly, disabled, and low-income individuals, national defense. As per the latest figures, defense spending amounts to $874 billion, which I'm sure isn't even close to what the actual figures are, especially with all the other wars going on, but that's besides the point. We also have interest on the debt. This has risen significantly, now reaching over $1 trillion according to the latest Treasury figures. Now let's go over to usdebtclock.org and let's look at some of these numbers. This is another website you could show someone where if they maybe don't understand why you're investing into silver or the state of the economy or the dollar, there are some very interesting statistics on here besides just the national debt, which at the top left you can see our national debt is $35,988,525,900,000. Debt per citizen, $106,572. We also have some other interesting stats over here. Like if you go down here, it shows how many millionaires there are in the United States, US millionaires. There are 23,838,171 millionaires. The top 1% of wealth owns $18,880,000. The bottom 50% owns 37,000. There's 59,928 retirees. U.S. disabled is 8,428,000. There's some very, very interesting numbers. Credit card debt is at $1,352,213,000,000. Per holders, $8,423. There's so many different defense and war 942 is that billion or trillion 942,838,000,000 dollars. And then you can even see down here the dollar to silver ratio 5-year makes it at $1,500 an ounce. It goes into actually gold and silver supply and demand from country to country basis. But you guys can go check that out in your own time. This article is the focus of this video, but yeah, that's just one more thing. If you're sitting at Thanksgiving dinner or around the holidays, after you show them the introduction that I played in the beginning of this video, you could also show them usdebtclock.org or some other websites maybe I'll link, or just show them my channel in general, because usually, I guess lately I've been starting to make intros into my videos. Like yesterday and the day before, I'll make these introductions before the video starts, breaking down heavy hitting points that aren't that nobody else can debate. It doesn't just start like a normal YouTube video. I'm trying to make my content more enjoyable and be able to be taken easier. I mean, a lot of people, this stuff is boring, so I try to make it entertaining, but also educational and informational as well. So make sure you subscribe if you like stuff like that. Now, here we have challenges in treasury sales. The U.S. government has faced increasing difficulties in selling treasury securities. Several factors contribute to this challenge. 1. Global shift. Many countries are diversifying their reserves away from U.S. treasuries, with some opting for gold as an alternative. For example, Russia, which was the latest. Russia no longer takes dollars. I mean, we've done sanction after sanction after sanction, and not even giving a lot of these countries their own gold that's held in New York. Their gold is held here, and we won't even give it to them. It takes years for them to get their own gold. We also have the BRICS expansion, the growing influences of the BRICS nations, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. But we also have Iran, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Thailand, dozens more in the new currency have attracted nations seeking to exit the US dollar. Why? Because who wants to have your funds stolen by the US, also called sanctions, right? Who wants the Americans' greedy little fingers in everyone's pockets anymore? They're tired of it. They're creating their own new currency called the unit or Enbridge unit, backed by 40% gold. And there's actually a picture from the BRICS summit on the 22nd, which was from the 22nd to the 23rd. There was a mock-up of Putin holding what this would look like. And there's actually some interesting little Easter eggs on there because Mexico was actually on the back. So they're saying, is Mexico also joining the BRICS or some of these other countries? You know, maybe I'll throw a picture in there. Actually, yeah, I'll throw that picture in too right now. I just wanted to show that as well so you guys have more of an idea of that this is not just some myth. This isn't some tinfoil hat stuff. This stuff is actually happening around the world. The Belt Road Initiative, Project Enbridge. This is all actually happening. So there's also sanction concerns. Countries are wary of potential U.S. sanctions and are looking for alternatives that offer more financial autonomy. Debt burden, the U.S. national debt close to 36 trillion, which I just showed, raises concerns about long-term fiscal sustainability. Changing oil dynamics, the dismantling of the Saudi oil peg to the US dollar has destroyed confidence in the dollar's dominance. Almost all countries selling US treasuries quickly accumulating gold. This is now the best practice for buying oil. And do you think it's going to stop here? Do you think it's ironic that all the biggest banks, the world's central banks, are buying records amounts of gold, and all the billionaires are buying gold and silver, and all the wealthiest, most powerful countries are now buying gold and specifically silver? Do you think that this is just ironic that this is all happening now? No, it's like they know something. Follow the money, follow the ones who know what's going on. There's a reason for that, and that is because there is a huge shift in power from the West to the East. The BRICS is also creating their own precious metals exchange, and that could be when they revalue gold. And even reverting all that back to the introduction of what we were talking about with that 1971 compared to the 2020 car. How much silver it takes from one point in time to another can get you the same exact thing, except in dollar terms, it's a much different story. So, the graph from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis shows a sharp upward trajectory in Federal Reserve interest payments, illustrating the concept of fiscal doom loop. Now, this phenomenon occurs when interest payments on existing debt grow so large that they necessitate more borrowing, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of escalating debt. I like calling this the getting yourself out of debt by replacing it with more debt, aka paying off a credit card with another credit card type of situation. And that always catches up, and it has caught up, and the dollar's actually lost 98% of its original purchasing power. So, we're not going to go too deep in this. This is a very long article, but the doom loop becomes inescapable when 1, interest payments consume an ever larger portion of the budget, 2, new revenue sources are unavailable or insufficient, and 3, cutting spending becomes politically unfeasible. Mathematically, if the interest rate exceeds the growth rate of the economy, the debt to GDP ratio will increase indefinitely, leading to a potential debt crisis. This crisis can manifest as a default, severe austerity measures, or currency devaluation, like you would see in some third world countries where they carry their money in trash bags because their dollar bills are so deflated. It would be like the purchasing power of like 5 cents. So if you wanted to go to the cash register, they actually weigh their money on scales because it would take more time to count out all of them. And that's why you'll see the Zimbabwe $1 trillion bill, or those guys that says like broke billionaire, because their money is so worthless. And that is inevitably what any fiat-based system lends to. That is literally what it's designed to do. It's not backed by anything. And that is exactly why gold and silver is timeless and has survived time and always will, from 5,000 years ago, since the beginning of man using it, and in 5,000 years it still will be. And that's because we're talking about elements on the periodic table. It's not like anything can replace silver, because nothing else in this universe is like silver. It's not like silver is made in the Earth's crust, so we're going to find some planet that has something else. Silver came here from meteors and comets and asteroids. So there's only so much in the Earth's surface. Plus, it's the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity, electricity, and light sensitivity. So it's needed for anything. And at this pace, silver is going to become the first element on the periodic chart to become extinct. Silver will be. Huh, interesting. But silver is needed the most in military and all of these things as we advance digitally. So we also have this one last thing before we wrap it up. And this is actually kind of reverting back to the 1970s. What he was saying, he's not saying that hyperinflation in the US is inevitable or imminent, though it remains a growing possibility that it's especially true as World War III plays out in a multipolar world order potentially emerging that could change everything. And in the meantime, I believe the ever-increasing currency debasement, potentially worse than what the US experienced in the 1970s, though not necessarily imminent hyperinflation, is an unstoppable trend you can bet on. That's what I think the gold price is set to skyrocket. I agree. I think when or if, let's say, the BRICS precious metal exchange, I think if they or once they launch that, that's when they could revalue gold and revalue silver. Or if there was some type of uh, default or reset or something along those lines, it could be revalued. Now, who knows when or why or how or where or what or that's not the point. It's just that that's what this is all leading to. The last time the US experienced runaway inflation was in the 1970s. Then gold exploded from $35 an ounce to $850 in 1980, a gain of over 2,300% or more than 24x. I expect the percentage to rise in the price of gold to be at least as significant as it was during the 70s. While this mega trend is already well underway, I believe the most significant gains are still ahead. And I think silver will be the most significant. And if you want to know why, go check out the video I made yesterday where the video titled "Silver is More Valuable Than Gold." And I made an introduction just like I did in this video. If you wanted to show someone, if someone asks, why are you investing into silver, not gold, go show them just the introduction to that video. You don't even have to show them the rest of the video. Just go show them the introduction to that video, and I bet they will get the point as well. Very hard-hitting facts up front, very quick. You don't got to watch a 15-minute video to bore them. Just show them that, and at least the seed is planted. Gold typically skyrockets during hyperinflation for several reasons: safe haven, limited supply, historical precedent, global demand, preservation of purchasing power. And a lot of these things are the same as silver, but silver also has this other thing working for it, which there is an extreme shortage, but silver is needed in all of these things, like EVs and aerospace, military, AI data centers, 5G, solar power installations, yada yada, nuclear, everything. That's a whole separate video if you want to go down that rabbit hole with me as well. Anyways, I appreciate you all for tuning in. Make sure to like this video. Make sure to subscribe, share it, comment, show it to your friends. Make sure you subscribe because I'm trying to reach 107,000 subscribers by the end of the month. And I definitely think that that is possible. If you wanted to purchase some of this shiny stuff, you can email slayer@milesfranklin.com or call 330-485-6172. There is no limit. There's no minimal limit. There's no maximum limit. My phone is on all the time. If I'm awake, I'll answer it. I can place an order whenever. I'll send you a price sheet. I'm not a stingy guy. I'll give you good prices. You could rely and trust on me, build a business relationship. I think it will be a great thing, especially since we have the largest inventory. When a lot of these companies are starting to run out of product, which will happen, we will be one of the last ones standing. And that is because Andy Schectman is the CEO and he has sources where no one else does. And by the way, I have a weekly podcast with him as well. And our next one is on Tuesday. So make sure you stay tuned for that as well. Thanks for tuning in. I love you all. This was Silver Slayer. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.